Hello team and welcome back to another Line Warcast. This is your map today. It is a 3v3 between Snow in blue, Kartoffelman in red, and Viking 69 nice in orange. And on Bravo team is Someone Said That My Nickname Sucks in teal, Mad Max 2456 in pink, and Alpha in green. Alpha team is going to split between the north and the south. Snow is going to spawn right here, Kartoffelman to the left of them, and then Viking 69 up in the north. This is Alpha in the center, kind of bordering both Snow and Kartoffelman, so Teal is in a little bit of a tough situation to start off the game. We can see where Alpha's teammates are. You have Nickname, or never mind, this is Alpha. Wait, who is this then? Is this Nickname? Is this Teal? This is green. Yeah, so this is Alpha. Nickname is between Snow and Kartoffel, and then obviously we got Mad Max all the way to the left-hand side of the map. Nickname's going to jump right on this barracks, one of the first buildings for Snow, and the Teal infantry is going to be able to destroy this. We do notice that it is a bunch of tanks, like an airport coming down for Alpha as well, and this water refinery. This is one of the first territories that Alpha would have picked in the picking phase, so expect a lot of energy units out of these factories. Probably just going to be even potentially 4 factories and tanks out of all of them if Alpha can actually run that many energy units off of just one refinery. Alpha's got this second refinery, so this is probably even just going to be the strat in a team game. This is going to be a lot of power that Alpha's going to be able to show up with. This is Alpha Team's vision, so very slowly Alpha Team's going to realize that Alpha has to be in this choke, just based on where these infantry are coming from. And the first 3 tanks are complete for Alpha. Great move from Snow to just go around this defensive line with a few infantry. The defensive bonus is negated if the units are being attacked from behind, which makes a lot of sense. And this is a lot of barracks from Kartoffel, off of 5 barracks to start and 1 factory building artillery pieces. The tanks could be very deadly from Alpha, because there are no tanks for Alpha Team. There's no way that Snow would be able to get any tanks. There's no energy very close. So this could become a problem. We'll see how long Snow can handle this pressure. But it's going to be, yes, 4 tanks at once being produced and helicopters on the way for Alpha. We can kind of check what's going on in the north. Some factories and some barracks for Viking, who has the entire north pretty much to themselves. And we'll be able to apply a little bit of pressure to Nickname as well. Nickname is in a very weird spot here, left on just 1 factory. The plan for Nickname is to start trying to cap some of these territories up to the north and potentially up with where these infantry are heading, or these infantry. Because Nickname might be knocked out of this game if this factory is destroyed before Teal can put down another building. So we'll see. It's going to be built right here. Boom. There it is. And Nickname already had pre-construction money, so that barracks is just auto-completed. Still a very difficult situation for Nickname. Alpha's helping out and kind of, you know, Snow is a little bit preoccupied trying to defend these tanks. But certainly Nickname is just going to be knocked down to just 1 barracks, and then this weird position kind of between Viking to the north and still a substantial number of infantry for Kartoffel. Like, might start pushing or just be content to start capping the center of the map. This is the power of these tanks. Just one of these tanks kind of draw all of these blue units away, so these 3 tanks can get in here and potentially destroy a factory. We'll check out what Mad Max is doing on the left-hand side of the map pretty quickly, but this is a very big moment in the game. How effective can Alpha be with these tanks? How many buildings can these green tanks get? And the answer might be quite a few. This factory, and then potentially 1 more of these barracks. Because the tanks are going to be able to outrun all of this infantry. Kartoffel's even sending a bunch of the red infantry back home to try to help out here. But this is relentless pressure. There's no SAMs for Alpha Team, so the helicopters could be super effective. And Alpha continuing this tank production. Mad Max on the left-hand side has a town going, building strikers, 2 barracks, and a factory, and setting up a refinery with a depot. So Mad Max isn't necessarily going to be able to get into the fight all that quick to help Nickname and Alpha out. Also because Alpha's going to have to, or pardon me, Mad Max is going to have to go through this mountain range, so the units are going to move super slowly through it. But Alpha doesn't care. Alpha doesn't even need help, just running around with these tanks, getting great value. Puts Snow down on just 4 buildings in total. This is a lot of M&Ms here, a lot of Skittles, a lot of infantry running around. And it is enough that they can probably just take these fights against the tanks if the tanks were to commit to the buildings. But of course Alpha's not going to necessarily do that and just be content to kind of kite these infantry and take as good of trades as possible while building up this helicopter count. Nickname has to just chill on this one barracks with this infantry. Can't really leave it because clearly if Alpha Team were to snipe that barracks, Nickname is out of the game, and then it's a 2v3 situation. Interesting to think about what Alpha Team will want to do here. There's an argument to push into this forest and just try to, you know, handicap Alpha a ton or even kill Alpha outright. But Alpha Team doesn't see that these buildings are here. They're all in the forest, so they get that stealth bonus. And I don't know what, if I was in Alpha shoes, I'm not actually sure what I would want to do here. Pushing into the forest and the mountain, kind of risky, because you never know what you're going to find in there. The build from Alpha is clearly just heavy tanks, so Alpha Team can just assume that there's going to be a lot of tanks in here. And they're still getting great value, just kiting back a little bit. And slowly thinning out this infantry count. Helicopters are great for Alpha. They're going to be able to destroy this factory. And now Alpha Team is at the edge of the forest. Still can't see any of Alpha's buildings. And now the fight in the mountain range is starting to heat up. Kartoffel's committing a lot of units to the left-hand side to push this. And this is also where Nickname has built 3 more barracks from those infantry that kind of jet off to the left-hand side when Nickname was losing all of the buildings to start. A lot of commandos, and now Vikings kind of getting into the fight. We'll likely be able to find that barracks pretty quick. In fact, it is already spotted for Alpha Team. But this is very scary. The tank numbers for Alpha are growing steadily. Helicopter count is also growing. There's no SAMs still. The only thing kind of holding Alpha back, which is being remedied by building the second refinery, is that there's only just 1 refinery right now. So it's not like these tanks can really go crazy on their movement. Otherwise, Alpha risks running out of gas entirely. Kartoffel's getting some eco with a town. Has a decent number of SAMs for how many planes that Mad Max is going to be able to bring here. And will actually destroy one of the strikers. A pretty even fight in the mountain range. Mad Max might have a little bit more units. But of course the defender's advantage for Kartoffel will kick in the closer that these pink units get to Red's base. And I didn't even notice the Nickname already has another base here. So 1 barracks for Nickname, and then whatever this is, 4 barracks and 2 factories, and then the 3 barracks over by Mad Max. So Nickname definitely not out of this game. And if there's one player that can... I mean, a lot of players can do this, but Nickname I feel like is renowned for... It just never dies. Never dies. You can't kill Nickname. The Nickname will always build barracks somewhere on the map, get a proxy base going, and then use it to great effect. First SAM is here now for Viking. There's enough helicopters that if the helicopters were just to take this fight against the SAM, they would be able to destroy it. Instead, they're going to dive on the barracks. It will maybe still work just because there are 3 helicopters. Great move from Kartoffel to move command these infantry underneath the helicopters. With the help of the SAM, they get 1, they get 2, they will get this 3rd helicopter as well. We'll see if the 4th helicopter can destroy the barracks in time. Alpha surrounds that SAM and takes it out. That's a big deal. 3 helicopters for a barracks on paper doesn't really make a lot of sense. But in general, Alpha is still in a very strong position with the number of tanks that Teal still has. Or green, whatever it is. Nickname definitely going to lose that barracks. There's not really much to say about that. It is in the way of Vikings' moving army. And somehow Kartoffel actually got an artillery piece and 4 infantry here on top of Mad Max's base. They will get cleaned up, but it would be a huge play if Kartoffel can destroy that refinery. And in the mountain range, still a big fight. Mad Max is trying to dig in with all the units. Kartoffel is going to very quickly overwhelm this. Alpha's a little bit on the defensive, or rather has to keep some of the tanks at home. And I believe that this army from Nickname is going to be the big difference. With all these units, that Nickname is now going to be able to start fighting Viking, who's going for another town and getting more economy. And otherwise pretty close. Tanks still doing their best to destroy the buildings and being successful in doing it. I feel like this has been, like, Alpha's got great value out of these tanks. A little bit of a, you know, an opportunistic infantry army that Viking has poked out in this mountain range. It is spotted, though. So Alpha will be able to destroy this. And there has to be a dock somewhere. Or this was maybe just an errant command from one of the players with the boats. No docks in this little lake as of yet. By this point, Kartoffel has overrun the first defensive line. Mad Max is backing up and trying to dig in, but there's not enough time to really dig in with this many infantry and Red Army on top of it. Still 2 SAMs, which is still enough to deal with these strikers, especially if they're just running in one at a time. And Kartoffel is actually going to go for another town, feeling confident that they're pushing successfully. This will be important. If Viking can fight Nickname's army effectively and not get pushed, then Alpha Team might be in a pretty good situation, or a promising position. But this will be scary. Nickname has a lot of units here, and Viking's a little bit spread out just by virtue of pushing down south to help out Snow. 3 barracks is perfect for Nickname to be able to go around this army in the mountain range from Kartoffel and pressure this town, which forces Red to push units up to the north to defend this. And very naturally, Nickname's also going to be able to loop down some units to the south. So a very wide front that Kartoffel's getting pushed on. And in a lot of ways, Kartoffel's now in a 1v2 situation. With this full fight against Viking in the mountains that is not letting up. And then, of course, this resurgent Nickname army in the north. And at this point, with this tank count and 2 refineries, Alpha might almost be in a position to just kind of A-move these tanks, essentially, and just take on all of this infantry. There's still no planes for Alpha Team. So the tanks don't have to worry about any helicopters or strikers or anything. And I still think that that Kartoffel is pushing through the mountains successfully and still winning this fight. The SAMs have been enormous to deal with the strikers. Takes out another one. And how is Viking doing? Decent number of artillery for infantry, for Nickname. There's a lot of producers at home for Viking, so there's an opportunity for Orange to kind of group up. But it's really weird because at this point, Snow's in a lot of trouble. Okay, so that Snow is in a lot of trouble. That was probably not going to be a situation that Snow could win there. Maybe if Viking was showing up with tanks to help defend this, but really we see that tanks are just very, very strong on the ground. The only real way to deal with tanks on the ground is to have your own tanks or to have a lot of air power. And the big 2-front push from Mad Max and Nickname. It's too much for Kartoffel in this situation. And so this will be a Bravo Team victory. And Nickname somehow, part of me still has 4 barracks and 2 factories. Rather, 7 barracks and 2 factories. And I will end the channel if Viking can win this game. This is how confident I am. This is how confident everyone is. Probably, there's a lot of folks who probably have turned off the video already. There's no way you're gonna ever win a 1v3. It's just extraordinarily difficult. Mad Max left. It's kind of interesting. So it's only a 2v1. Still an exceptionally difficult situation for Viking to come back from. So many tanks from Alpha. And what really is the big deal is that Nickname has enough infantry all over the map that is capping a lot. So the economy for Nickname is just going to explode very quickly. We keep hearing the disconnecting sound from Mad Max. I'm gonna get it. Some ways I wish that didn't sound on replays, but it is what it is. GG. Pretty hectic game. Income-wise, Alpha was doing very well on the economy for a lot of this. I guess it was a lot of Viking in the north. Well played. Great 3v3. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful night, day, evening, whatever it is. Hype for AI. Peace.